Arr, I be Monkey Boy.
I'm the meat stick Nick.
I be Fingers.
And I'm Black Powder Pete.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we are doing a preview for Blackbeard's Lost Fleet. This game plays 2 to 4 players, and I don't know the time, but probably like 2 hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Either Dan hurt his eye or he forgot his eye patch.
Makeshift eye patch.
Fair enough.
Be a good one.
Thanks,
Fair
buddy.
enough. So the lore behind this game, or the story, the theme, is basically Blackbeard has disappeared, and we are all trying to start mutinies on his ships, take over his fleet, and win the game. The other way you can win is if you can find Blackbeard's lost treasure. Well, I shouldn't say win, trigger endgame.
Yeah.
And you can instant win if you control the any five of Blackbeard's ships at any given time, because then you will automatically always have the majority. Mm-hmm. So, and how do we do this, you might ask? Well, that's pretty easy. Basically, what you're going to do is on your turn, you're going to take an action. You have a hand of cards, and they're going to give you some options. You've got a sailing icon on the sides. You could play that card and sail either your jolly boat, which is a small one, or your sloop to this one has a green location. So you could sail to a green location, and you're going to do what it says on there. The icons are all pretty straightforward. They give you nice aids. Again, this is prototype, but they give you some nice aids that will allow you to kind of figure it out pretty easily. And if you go with a jolly boat, you can go anywhere. If you go with a sloop, you lock in that location and nobody else can place there. So think of it like big worker. Other things you can do, you can choose to play the card for its mission value. So the mission is down here at the bottom. You in the just sort of that tan field, you play that and you're going to get or do what it says. So this would gain a rum barrel if I played it for that. And then
Hey, you played Meat Stick Nick.
I did play
My
Meat Stick.
favorite card.
Nice. The other thing you can do is if you will have your own character card, and if you have him in your hand and you go to play him, you will get to do your asymmetric player power. So Monkey Boy has got a thing where after sailing, I can I sail, draw a card, and then any player can pull a card out of their, well, I choose a player to pull a card out of their discard pile, draw a card out of their discard pile. Yeah. So, pretty powerful. I don't know why I'd pick anybody but me, but that is the only player.
Yeah, no, I assume it's like that other card where you take a card from any player's discard.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I
Any
was gonna
players
say.
I take a card from any player's
Because it's got the arrow
discard
going
pile.
down.
Yeah. It sure does.
Yeah. It has an incredible player aid showing off what all the icons
Yes,
mean. Just
very
so
Which I was not looking at which I could have. It was right there. So anyways, then once you've placed all your
discard a
ships,
card.
played in all the cards you want to play,
And every player has passed.
no, you can choose to
Yeah.
pause and fold. You don't have to wait for everybody to pass.
Okay, got
You
it.
can fold.
Got it.
If you fold, you're no longer placing ships. You're no longer going to be playing cards, but now you can spend those cards for their favor value. Those little
Okay.
bells
I thought
on the
you were
side.
going to the mutinies, my
And
bad.
you can buy cards out of the lineup. The purchase card goes to your discard pile, and then the lineup immediately refills. You can buy as many cards as you can pay for. You could also discard a card as a free action for the icon shown, right? Usually rum or gold. And so you could do that as well. And then you're kind of done. If you're the first person to pass and you aren't already first player, you gain the first player token. If you were already first player, you don't get it. It goes to the next person that passes. And then we go to the mutiny phase. So the mutiny up here, all of these ships, the first player is going to decide which ship is going to have a mutiny. And at the end of the round, after everybody has passed, depending on how many little pirates you've got on there, you're going to try to take control. There is also going to be blind bidding, where you can take any amount of gold that you have hidden, squirreled away in your little treasure chest there, and secretly add it to your hand, and that will contribute to your power.
And Dan loses.
Dan loses, but he makes
Which has
everybody
been par
else.
for the course for our playthroughs.
But he makes everybody else pay. If you win, you're going to move your little guy up to the top there, and you're going to bring your pirates back. Anybody else that had pirates there will lose half of them rounded up. And then now you've got control. You're going to gain this. You're going to gain this to just show
Just
that
indicators that you won that
that
location.
you've won that location. You control the thing. And then now, anytime anybody goes here, whoever controls that ship is going to get that additional benefit, including the person who controls the ship. Because when we played a game, I had a ship that I took control of. It was like the first battle, mutiny, and I kept going to that location all the time because it was loading me up. Because I was just, getting double duty there. That's basically the game.
And the number of cards up there, that's the number of rounds. So there is a finite, there is an ending point.
Yes, and if somebody reaches the end of one of these tracks, that's also that triggers game end. You finish the round. Another thing we didn't mention is there's also Nassau. You can discard a card and you can sail your sloop to Nassau, to one of these locations, and you're going to advance on that track and gain the benefits.
Just gives you resources. Just a different way to get very similar resources we talked about earlier.
Yeah, all kinds of good stuff. There are bells on here. If you get the bell, that means you just get a card out of the lineup. So super cool and really fun when you time it right. And there's like a really amazing card in there that might cost like 5 or 7, which is kind of hard to do sometimes if you're playing those cards for other things. So multi-use cards. For me, it didn't overstay its welcome. And that's basically the game in a nutshell.
Yeah.
We'll go around and kind of get everybody's just sort of initial thoughts. Andrew, what do you think?
Sure. So first off, the quality of this, I think that was something that we all brought up is for a prototype, this is amazing. This is
insane.
Super, I mean, the art is, it's not even, well, it's art, but it's also like the pictures on here, you could tell it's like, they got all of their friends to dress up as pirates.
Yeah.
And they just took pictures of themselves.
And Spencer.
And Spencer.
yes.
And Meat Stick Nick. I'm sure we will have this up on the screen somehow. I think it's everything Spencer wants to be at least a few times a year at a convention.
There's a 0% chance, by the way, that at some point you guys have not seen a picture of Meat Stick Nick with Spencer photoshopped on top of it. There's a 0% chance.
How would you know the difference?
Maybe we can get a Kickstarter package. Like it's like the $1,000 one where we get the Meat Stick Spencer.
Right.
We just get one card that's a little bit different. But this game is, I don't know what camera I'm looking at. Hello. This game is great. I don't want to say like this is like this game, but if you like Dune Imperium, this game is a pirate, reimagined, tweaked. It feels like
similar,
Dune Imperium. I'm not saying it is Dune Imperium because they are very different games. But if I could compare it in similar ways, like your card has 3 different tags that you can only play your ship into those specific locations. So we have ours actually lined up. If we take a look at the overhead cam, like the 3 blues on the right side, the 3 greens in the middle, the 3 reds. I'm not sure how they're going to do that when they actually make the final product.
Well, it doesn't seem that this is actually, the order is important in any way. You're just picking and choosing.
Yeah. But you can only go where your cards dictate, or you can go to Nassau, which I enjoy. I personally, when we did our playthroughs, I wanted to play a specific way. So as Meat Stick Nick, he wants to travel along. Can you just point to that top row there? Right there. That top row is not very combat heavy, and I wanted to just do that. I wanted to leave everybody alone. I didn't want to fight up in the mutinies. I didn't even invest any of my characters there, and I just wanted to rush to the end. And I thought I was going to win. And I was like, and I even found a circle of 3 actions that I was abusing it like crazy. And I was just bouncing from one thing to another thinking like, I'm going to bag this game. And I ended up losing. So that felt good to know that I didn't just break the game a little bit. I thought I did, but then at the end, I think Spencer
won, but it ended up being kind of a tight game though by the end, because it's sort of the that low scoring game, right? Points are very much at a premium.
And I, instead of doing one track, I decided to diversify, and by doing that, I also had an ability that let me move one person back on this track and move myself forward.
That was terrible.
But it cost me 4 of these guys.
Yeah, your pirates on the
so
board.
I kind of had to diversify if I wanted to do this, and if I hadn't done this, you would have won.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, you saw my strategy, and you intentionally
tried to hold you back.
Tried to hold me back, yeah. And you did good there, and you won. I really like that there are different win conditions. I love when there is a instant win condition. See Chaos Order.
Yep.
I love that if you control 5, now that's really hard to do in this game.
is.
If you take 5 and you win in the first 5 rounds.
That's why they have that rule, because they're just like,
Yeah.
you're clearly ruining everyone else's
if you're
day,
doing-
so the game's over.
The game is over. But I love how there are different ways to trigger the end game. They even tell you in the rule book, if you want like an accelerated ending, this is where you need to go. If you want the standard ending, this is how you're going to do it. If you want the epic ending, that's how you're going to go. This is like the way you're going to play. I had a great time. I liked this game so much. I had to think of things that, if the developers are watching this, I hope they take my thoughts into consideration, because I would like to see some other things added to this game, because when this goes to crowdfunding, oh yeah, I'm all over it. This
Yeah.
game rocks. I really like it. So I'll pass.
Spencer.
And then I'll come to my criticism, or my please add this later.
Okay. I like this game for a lot of different reasons. The
'Cause you won.
theme, well, I did win. Yes. The theme is really strong. I like over here where they're showing the pirate flags, and these are genuine, actual pirate flags that they were, and people don't seem to realize that was Blackbeard's pirate flag. I think that's awesome that they included little details like that. I also like one of the cards is Blackbeard himself. Now, the idea of the game is Blackbeard's gone missing and you're taking over his fleet. But what happens when Blackbeard shows up? Well, you get him on your team. He points to a boat and says, "You're doing what I say."
That's my fleet.
And it does it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And yeah, that was thematically, it was just fantastic. I loved that. I did enjoy the fact that these are worth points at the end of the game. So you might see someone rushing someone, you might see someone trying to go up, but you got to really think hard about, am I ahead? Who's ahead
Yeah,
right now?
yeah.
Because also, your resources are points 1 to 3 at the end of the game, and a bunch of them are hidden. So if you have someone who's just gathering all the coins they can and not letting people realize
And
this,
then open their
and
chest
they
at the
open
end of the
their
game and
chest
just...
yeah, you're going to be like, okay, well, obviously he just spot everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like all of those details that I just mentioned. These abilities, at first, they're a little bit confusing, and you do have to end up looking at your card quite a bit. They have an almanac that explains a lot of these things. I'm really grateful for that almanac. It does a really good job.
Yes.
And in the end, these all seem to be relatively balanced. I was a little surprised. You have one on here that lets you just place people. Like this one just lets you place one person off the bat. This one lets you move 3 people, and it can be any 3 people. And yet somehow these end up being somewhat balanced doing that. It didn't seem like that way, but in the end of the game, we had quite a few very close battles. Yeah, the seals here, it took me a little bit to realize that that's a one-time thing, not an everything, because it's next to the thing.
You were the only one.
Yeah,
but
the
yes.
only one that immediately
it's
ended.
right, but it's right on the thing that happens every time someone takes it.
Sure.
But other than that, yeah, I enjoyed the game. I don't think I have anything else to say about it.
Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to reiterate kind of what Andrew was getting at, which is if you're a fan of the Dune Imperium, a fan of the Lost Ruins of Arnak, this game scratches that itch. It is not the exact same game, but that's a good thing. You now have 3 games of that type that do that worker placement, deck building, battling, game. Dune Imperium is one of my favorite games of all time, and playing this game, I was sitting here, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Oh, this is going to be good.
I saw all of those 9 different areas as 9 different battle areas.
Right.
Like, on the Dune board, you just dump all your cubes into one area. But
Right.
like this, you can just save up in one area because you know it's going to happen eventually. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it would be equivalent to the deck in Dune Imperium instead. So
yeah.
you can save up for when the card comes up that you want, kind of thing. But yeah, so like if those are games that you really like, I do think that this game hits a lot of the same notes as that, and yet does it completely its own thing. We talk about in this hobby a lot, there's not enough great pirate games. This is really good, guys.
Yeah.
This is up there. You want a pirate game that's really feeling like a pirate game. This is prototype. We have questions about how some things work and everything like that, and what things are going to actually turn out. Like 2 things that I'll say that are like, not negatives, but questions that I have more so for the designers is gold is clearly more important than rum in the game. Not only can you turn 1 gold into like 3 rum whenever you want to, but also gold is how you win battles as well as your units. It's very important. And at the end of the game, it's worth the exact same amount of points as rum. That's really weird.
With the shop, you can spend 1 gold to wipe the entire shop.
Right.
But you can
as
spend
opposed to
one
like rum for one
barrel
right?
removes just 1 card.
Yeah, so like clearly the game is constantly telling you that gold is much more useful than rum. And then at the end of the game, it's just 3 for 1 point, just like rum is. And that's weird that you can save up all this gold and be the richest pirate. And it's the exact same as if someone just had rum. That's like a weird feeling to me.
I wonder if there was like a balance thing where people were hoarding gold
100%
and it was just too much. And so it's like, no, spend your gold.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's just a question. Because then it could be like, okay, well, maybe rum could be 3 for 1 and gold could be 2 for 1, but then did that imbalance the game or something?
It might also be a thing towards the end of the game. Your people are going to be saying, well, I have a whole bunch of gold. Do I want to use this gold to try to take over this spot, which could give me an instant win if I'm close to it? But other people are like, well, no one's going to instant win. I've got all this gold. I'm going to use it, turn it into as much rum as possible. So now you have a choice between which one you're going to do. Because the rum is going to be worth more in terms of points if you can convert them like that.
That's true. I see what you're saying. Buy rum because then 1 will turn into 3, which is then 1 point for 1 gold, basically. That's true.
It's giving you a choice towards the end of the game.
And then the other thing that just felt like a little bit of a feels bad, insert meme face here, is the fact that to go to Nassau takes a lot of resources, in it takes a lot of time. You are not doing other things if you're going to Nassau. You're not winning battles. You're not moving up on these tracks, obviously, unless the thing gets you. This is all preparation. You can get guys into battles, right? You can move up on this track at this one. You can get gold. It's all preparation. And the fact that you're preparing over here and not focusing on other battle stuff that you could be, and there's no points that you get for moving up on or over here, is just a weird feeling to me.
I think
there's some points.
Yeah,
but
so
it's not direct points.
The top left Nassau gives you the top progression.
Yep.
This guy right here.
And
so
two skills.
And Spencer kept blocking me. I would have ended the game like 5 rounds early.
Right. If you spend 5 of your actions to move up there.
Yeah.
Right.
And this one gives you
That one gives you
a
people
little
to
bit
fight
of,
with.
a little bit of fighting power in the
if you spend 5 actions to go there. I'm just saying it's very expensive for what you're getting.
Yeah.
The fact that yes, if you spend 5 actions, you get to place 5 guys, move up 2. That's incredible. That is 5 times you didn't go over here and get much better stuff. That's all I'm saying. The preparation feeling here, not giving you any points, feels weird. Again, if it's a balancing choice, then I'm not saying to change it. I want the game to be as balanced as possible. It's just that when you're doing it, it does feel weird. You're like, okay, I guess I'll put my boat here and get 2 guys. I could have gone out there and gotten 2 guys. So it's just weird. And then this can like proc certain abilities. You can get the rewards for this. It just feels weird that Nassau is just like this kind of second thought area to me.
It does make this sloop over here much more important because suddenly you have 33% more moves you can make.
Yeah, and that's very true, which we didn't really go into, is once you get to the 5th slot on here, you get another action. You can take basically
your boat,
the other worker, right? Yeah. So that can be huge, and then you can do your thing and kind of have an extra ship for Nassau if you want, or I was interested and Andrew started doing it, just send both your ships to Nassau every time and just see what happens. That interests me. But yeah, we have little questions like that about if, what is work in progress, what is for balancing purposes already, because they did a great job here. I'm very impressed, and I think that by seeing what we're talking about, you guys will see if it's a game that you think is worth checking out. I think this is going to be for most people. I really do. Yeah. The only thing is I don't like blind bidding. If you hate blind bidding, it's a key factor in this game, so just be ready for that. Watch a gameplay video or something, right? But it really does take the worker placement, deck building games and say, okay, let's add a pirate theme and let's add blind bidding, and it does it really well.
Yeah, this is a really fun combination of a lot of things that I really like. Kind of going off of what these guys were talking about, I think my problem with Dune Imperium is that it's just so tight and you're immediately screwed if you're playing with somebody that's played the game more than twice, because you'll have no chance of winning. For this, I feel like there's a lot of flexibility. There's some breathing room. You can You can try out a lot of different strategies because there's so many locations to go to. Even if one gets blocked off or one of these gets blocked off, there's so many locations to go to. Even in a 4-player game, there were times where the board feels busy, and that's fine.
Yeah. That's good. It felt good when it was busy.
Yeah, I liked it. And another thing that I really, really like, even though it was frustrating because it kept happening to me, but I love that you can do this, is that when there's a couple of ways to get pirates up here, right? So you can play these actions here. You can pop pirates on there. There's pirates down here, that you can put up there. There's potentially cards that you can get a hold of that are going to allow you to put pirates up there. But the really cool part is the moving of the pirates. So if I won a big battle, I commit all of these pirates to this one ship to win it. Well, now all those pirates for me come off the board, and I just keep that one up there showing, hey, I'm the petty officer of this ship. Everybody else's pirates, they only lose half. They only lose half of their pirates. Now they still got all these pirates on the board, which then they can just take a really simple action and move three pirates.
3 of them, yeah.
And they could be their own, or more often than not, I've loaded up a location, I'm ready to go, and the person who goes last moves my 3 pirates off of there, And so I really appreciated all the ways that you could sort of manipulate the battles up here, because that kept it from feeling like feel bad when it's like, man, well, I just dropped 3 guys and Spencer just dropped 5 guys there, and it's like, well, it's actually only going to be 2 because I'm going to move or I can move my own guys over. But sometimes you don't want to do that because if you overcommit, well, now you've got to get all those pirates back out on the board, and I just really appreciated that balance. I love deck building games. I love games where with the multi-use cards.
Yeah.
And this really, really does that really well. Because I'm looking at my hand and now I'm like, okay, so there's like a 4-cost card. If I save up my cards that have at least 4 favor, then that means I can play these cards to do stuff. And then also there's so many like card draw opportunities on the board and with the other cards you can play and with your asymmetric powers. So like, I go here and I played a card to go here, but now I'm going to get a rum and I get to draw 2 cards and it's like, sweet.
Yeah.
Now I've got
There's
this.
a lot of card draw in this game.
There's a lot of card draw and it feels really good because you feel like you're always doing stuff and you've got some options. And it is interesting with the rum gold economy, and I'm not 100% sure what the balance is, but rum was so useful. I mean, specifically, like I had a card where I could burn 5 rum and basically move up 2 spots on this track.
It was crazy.
So I'm like, just feed the rum, like let's go, and so there's just really interesting combinations in here. I do feel like the game rewards you for leaning into your player power, your asymmetric player power a little bit. So depending on who you are and what you got, like use it, lean on that because it's
use
very
your meat
important.
stick. I always say.
You're Spencer.
Use your
Great.
But yeah, I mean, I think.
Are we gonna have to refilm because I said that?
No, but this game does a lot of really neat things. This is not a paid preview. They sent us a copy to do the.
And it is a good game.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Can I make my requests now?
Go for it. Make your requests.
Make my requests? Okay. Maybe you guys will agree with
got
some
it
of these.
down.
Good.
What?
Go for it.
Okay. So you can hide your resources in in these awesome little wooden treasure chests, right?
Just the gold, I think, right?
Just the gold. Here's I wish it were a rule that you had to hide both of your resources. Because I don't want you guys to know anything about my resources because at the end of the game, I do want to have that ability.
Rude.
But also, if you have somebody with a pen and paper, they could write down how much gold you have. A suggestion that I had was possibly having different options of what resources you can start with based on what player count you. Like first player gets a different amount of resources than the fourth player going.
Right.
But I wish you could choose secretly and then you could put those resources into your treasure chest. So like did Dan start the game with 3 gold, or did he start with 2 barrels of rum and 1 gold, or did he go 3 barrels of rum? Like, and then when you go to the bidding phase, like you don't know what anybody's got. As opposed to just starting the game static, it's like, oh, Spencer's player 4. I know he has X amount of gold.
Yeah, there was one point where we had a 3-way battle down here, and I knew Tim could outbid me no matter what.
Yeah.
But I was the only player left, and one thing I wanted to mention, the multi-use cards. I love multi-use cards, especially when you can just drop a card and you put a person down. Well, I was able to remove his last person from there, and he can no longer bid. And that prevented him from doing that.
Yeah. Another thing I would love to see is just more cards over there. I don't know if this is going to turn into a full board or not.
So it's not the same 9 locations.
But the same 9 locations, different ships. Like, give me 20 ships and
Yeah, but maybe Blackbeard only had 9 ships in it.
Yeah, it's called lore, Andrew.
Sorry, I'm not up to
My
date with
request is that Blackbeard had more ships with more variety.
Can we expand his fleet?
Well, you know what though? What you could do is have sort of like games like Quacks does, where you have the same tokens, but they do different things based on the token card that you that you're
Maybe they're
using.
double-sided. You flip the Ranger over and it does something else on the other side. Yeah.
And just different rewards. I feel like this is very vanilla in the things that you get as rewards. Draw a card, get a barrel of rum, get a gold. I wish there was something like, oh, you won here, and now whenever you, and I brought this up during our gameplay, but like if you have a ship here and the mutiny is here, then your ship counts as a pirate, and it gets you bonus power or something like that. Something that would just kind of, I mean, this game is asymmetric as hell. Like there is so much asymmetry. But I guess.
There could be like somebody. There could be a character that's like your ship's count as a power
something
in the
like
battle.
that. Yeah, something like that. But other than that, like I want more content in this game because it was such a fun game. I had such a good time. The blind bidding, like I didn't really get stung that bad, but it sucks to watch other people kind of get stung due to the blind bidding. But hey, it's part of the game, so gotta
I think
respect the rule.
Again, the other side of that is the winner loses all their pirates at that location, where everybody else, usually is going to keep some, and so they still have guys on the board. Now, that's not a salve that heals all wounds by any means, but it does I think that's kind of cool because if the winner gets to keep all their pirates and everybody else loses it, well, now you're just the rich get richer, right?
Yeah.
And now you're just steamrolling and it just gets out, it could get out of control really quickly. So yeah, really neat game. Really, I love the theme. Like Dan said, it was funny because I was just thinking to myself, remember to say there's not enough really good pirate theme games. And right as I was thinking that, Dan said it. It's like, dang it. But he's right. There's not enough good ones. This one is great. It might be one of the better ones, to be completely honest.
Even in this form.
Yeah, even in prototype form.
Yeah.
And again, as prototypes go, this thing's beautiful. I wouldn't be ashamed to put this on a table and play it with people. Like, oh, you have to excuse the prototype components. Like, nah, man, it looks great. It plays great. Feels good. Anything else before we wrap up? I think it's a solid recommend from everybody, right?
100%.
Yeah, I recommend it. Definitely.
Yeah. I've been wanting more games like this on the market. This crosses 2 of those checks that we've been talking about. Like we used to talk about on this show how, man, why aren't there more deck building worker placing games? And then all of them started coming out.
They did. They did.
And then everyone, and not just us, but everyone's like, there needs to be more good pirate games. Then boom, this one hits that too. So yeah, great job.
There's one thing I would add. I want to have a little bit of a history on these because I kind of want to know what's happened over here. Looks like it's on fire.
Well, pirates didn't. That's hard though because pirates didn't actually exist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Nor
like
did they write history. Nor did they write history.
like pigeons.
You've never seen a baby pirate, and you've never seen a baby pigeon.
That's true.
It's just going to feed the weird conspiracy theories that make no sense to me. Anyway, sorry, Dan. Please, or Spencer, please continue.
Well, having a little bit of information about all the different ships, or about these probably aren't real people, but if you had information about things
that
that
literally a real person.
About my...
Okay, good point. But just information about what happened to Blackbeard, the history. It's actually a very fascinating history.
Well, now I want to see how many ships he did have.
I just thought, it'd be nice to have a little bit of the
there might be some of that in the rule book. I don't
text.
remember, but but yeah, I mean, flavor text is always fun. But the cards are so full of icons and information. I don't know that there's a ton of room.
Well, you would just, if they don't do double-sided, you would just have it on the back of the ships.
That's true.
But it depends on, because then technically that costs more money for printing and everything, right? Double-sided cards and all this stuff. So, I'm not going to ask for
Spencer
that.
gets one book published.
I
just say everybody should have everything written all over this. The whole back of the board is a novel that I wrote. About Blackbeard. Anyways, guys.
Blackbeard only had 5 ships.
This one says prison ship.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the Ranger is sort of generic,
This one's
right? Floating
This is a
shantytown.
very small
Yes.
So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 very
main
specific.
named
You're
ones.
saying that
Named
Nuestra
ships.
Senora de la Concepcion is
That's
a real ship? Okay.
Yeah, Our Lady of the
No,
Conception.
this was just a shanty town.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, would you look at that?
Okie dokie.
All right, guys. Well, for the board game rundown, I've been Monkey Boy.
I'm still Meat Stick Nick.
Fingers.
And black powder Pete.
What is that move you just did?
Literally the card.
Oh boy.
Oh, thanks for watching, guys.
And you can say the title's only